Hello there. So I just wanted to get this quick diary style video out today because I'm not sure when I'm next going to be able to post. The weather this weekend is looking really miserable. It's raining now, it's very dark, and that's set to continue for the entire weekend. And of course during the week, you know, it's dark by the time I finish work, so not had any opportunities to go out and film. The good thing about this little action cam is it can handle the weather, so it does allow me to get out. Now next weekend I know I won't be posting anything. That is quite deliberate because I have got my first trip of the year planned. So I'm heading off to Brecon in South Wales. I've got 3 days planned there, so I'm going to be doing quite a bit of walking, and weather permitting I'll be shooting a lot of video. I'm going to try and create some content while I'm down that way and do some of the kind of longer form videos, and that'll be coming, you know, in the next sort of month or two once I've had a chance to get that trip done and edit them, etc. So other than that, all I'm doing today is just trying to get some miles in, and Bolt, come this way, is trying to get some miles in and get some conditioning. Because it's been winter, I have been, you know, dormant pretty much in terms of walking, and heading into Brecon I do want to just get a little bit of conditioning in because obviously it's a lot hillier and more mountainous than it is here. And in terms of the walks that I'm planning to do, I'm hoping to do the 4 waterfalls walk, which is quite a short one, but that's going to be just to test my legs and make sure that I'm alright, and then after that we'll see what happens. So I may do Pen y Fan depending on whether I feel like it and how busy it is, because it always seems a bit peoply, Pen y Fan, and I tend to like the quieter paths. I might just go into the Black Mountains. I've got a little Airbnb place booked like right at the foot of the Brecon Beacons, so I'm going to be free to just kind of explore and take advantage of the weather, you know, if there's breaks in weather, and see what happens. I've also got my drone, finally got that sorted, so I will be flying my drone out and hopefully get some of those kind of epic establishing shots that I want to do. So things are heading in the right direction. All these plans I've been making over the last couple of years are starting to come to fruition now. I've got the action cam to handle any wet weather, I've got the drones for the epic shots, and I've got the first trip planned, so all looking good. But I do need to sort out my fitness. Bolt, this way buddy. I do need to sort out the fitness. I've done pretty well with losing weight. I think I've lost 38 pounds now, so it's slowed down a bit. Obviously over Christmas I didn't do too much because I ate mince pies like everybody else. I didn't gain over Christmas. I did manage to lose a pound still over Christmas, which is an achievement in itself, but it definitely does feel like it's slowing down a little bit. I've got about 4 pounds to go though. I've lost 2 stone 10 pounds, and I've got 4 pounds to go, so still not too shabby at all. I only want to lose about another 4 pounds, and I will have got to my kind of 3 stone target that I set myself. After that, I'm probably going to have a bit of a break and just chill out a little bit, because I've been dieting pretty hard now since September, you know, and I've been on it. Apart from Christmas week, I've not really had anything like chocolate or biscuits or anything, and I just feel like I could do with a bit of a break, maybe a month or two, just to kind of not go crazy, but just to kind of start eating again, shake my body up a little bit, and have some of those things that I've been missing out on, the odd bit of bread and that kind of stuff. And the other reason I'm out today, other than just walking the dogs and get a little bit of conditioning in, is just to get some mental headspace. Check the dogs there, because I don't know about you, but I found over the last few years, sort of social media is getting more and more toxic. You know, I've noticed it a lot over the last few years, particularly leading up to the kind of presidential election, or the US election, should I say. You know, people are taking really opposing views and not finding any middle ground, and people just want to seem to insult each other rather than discuss issues. And you know, I kind of expect that on Facebook, because people are people, aren't they? They're not always the brightest bunch, but it's started to spill over into my own channel now. And if you watch any of my videos, you'll know the sort of stuff I make, it's not particularly provocative. You know, it is generally me talking about outdoor gear or outdoor skills and enjoying my time outdoors and places I'm visiting. It's certainly not the sort of content I'd expect to receive a death threat over. And I've actually had a death threat, which, you know, I'm not taking seriously. These people are just kind of losers, really. But some of the comments I've had are just so toxic, it's unbelievable. And I think people need to separate. If they disagree with a point, that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to talk about a point. If somebody comes up with a good counter argument, I'll listen to it. Might not necessarily take it on board, depending on whether I agree with it or not. But if I hear evidence or new information, I'm prepared to change my opinion. But some people take it really seriously and really kind of personally if you don't agree with them, which is just a weird concept. Now, of all these kind of comments I've had, it doesn't slow me down, and you won't see most of them because I just removed them and banned them from the channel, to be honest. But every now and again you just think, oh, for the love of God, not another one. But the way I look at these negative comments is it's actually a sign the channel's doing really well. I know that sounds like a really strange way of looking at things, but I only tend to get the trolls and the negative comments on the videos that are doing really well. So some videos, they only get a couple hundred views or something, no one's really interested. But when you start getting like a few thousand or 20,000, things like that, they're the ones where I get the trolls on. So for me, that means I'm reaching a new audience, people who haven't seen me before. And if they take an exception to me, that's fine, because you can't please everybody. And I'm not even going to try to do that, so that's not a problem at all. And the other thing is, I think when people make these comments, I think it actually says a lot more about them than it does about me. And it makes me appreciate how good my life is, because I don't feel a need to insult people like that. I don't feel like I need to shut somebody down or be negative towards them to make myself feel a little bit better, because I'm pretty confident in how things are going for me as they are. I've got a good wife, good family, nice house, decent job, and not everybody has that. And I think that's where a lot of it comes from. I think people have their own issues, there's something missing there, and so they need to feel like they've got a bit of power or a bit of authority in how they conduct themselves online, if that makes sense. So I actually kind of feel a little bit sorry for them, because there's obviously something missing. I don't feel that sorry for them. I'm going to obviously just remove the comments, because we're still all adults at the end of the day. But it's kind of an interesting one, how people are behaving at the moment. I don't know, have you found that as well on your kind of dealings with social media? I've certainly found with Facebook, I'm hardly hearing from my friends now. It's mainly companies and these kind of rage bait articles that are designed to provoke some kind of response, and everyone gets angry. It's weird. But yeah, it feels like we're living in pretty interesting times at the moment. Not for the better. I think this is the first time I'm thinking all this kind of technology and all of this kind of interactivity and things is possibly a bad thing, and I think it's possibly to the detriment of society rather than for its benefit. And it feels like people are kind of profiteering off that negativity, if that makes sense. I think there's people there, the websites and for Facebook accounts, and all they do is they post these rage bait articles, and they're just there trying to provoke these responses. And that sounds harmless enough until enough people start to have these kind of polarized opinions, and then it becomes very dangerous indeed. And like, just looking at what's happening with like America at the moment and kind of President Trump, I mean, some of the comments he's been making are pretty outrageous. But it's not just him, because enough Americans felt the same way to vote him into power. And some of the things he says are, there's no getting away from it. They are just toxic, if that makes sense. But people are buying into that, and I think they're buying into that because they're feeling stressed, they're feeling angry, they've got all these problems. And I think Mr. Trump, I think he's possibly cleverer than I thought he was originally, because he's using that to feed his power, if that makes sense. He's feeding off other people's anger and resentment to keep him into power. To do that, you've got to have no empathy with other people, because he's attacking other groups through it. So you've got to be a bit of a sociopath to do that. You can't be a decent, balanced person who cares about other people and feed society's anger into this kind of deep hatred for each other. Yeah, I do worry about the future, because I suspect that we might have conflict coming forwards. I always kind of thought NATO might be going to war in the next few years, but I didn't ever imagine it could be with America. And I'm not saying that's going to happen, and I really hope it doesn't. But if they do some of these things they've been talking about, like taking over Greenland or Canada, who are NATO members, then we're bound by treaty to act, And this is kind of what happened in World War One and World War Two. Germany and Russia invaded Poland. We had agreements with Poland, so that brought UK into the war. And it nearly killed us. It nearly finished us off. It wasn't an easy battle, to say the least. But that's the power of those kind of alliances. You don't just do it because it's beneficial. You don't just do it because you think you're going to win. You kind of commit to it and you do it. So it does worry me the way that kind of toxicity exists and is being perpetuated by some of these kind of social media outlets. And so that gets us back to this kind of outdoor theme, because I think part of the problem is people are just spending far too much time online reading these kind of hateful comments, actually not getting outside enough, just disconnecting from all this technology and enjoying what's in front of them. And that's kind of what I'm all about. I just want to appreciate life. We've got so long on this earth, you've got to kind of make the most of it. And my dog is about to just wrap me up, so he's got to do a little spin there. Thanks, buddy, appreciate that. And so yeah, disconnect, get out, go for a walk and get some perspective. Because people are different, people do have different opinions, different values, and that's fine, that's okay. We all have different views, and there's nothing wrong with that. The key thing is we've got to work together, and we've got to kind of respect each other's opinions, even if we don't disagree with them, and work together for the better of each other, if that makes sense. Because as soon as we start trying to marginalise one group or attack one group, well, we know where that leads, because we've seen it in history again and again. So yeah, a bit of a deeper thought one today than I intended it to be. So look after yourselves, take care, and hopefully I'll see you next time.